Welcome back, everyone. This is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, here with another video to break down another hero that a lot of you probably still use regardless of what level of the game that you're at. And that is Alexander Sokolov. I apologize if I'm butchering that name. I know it is Russian in origin, so please let me know if I'm messing it up. And this video suggestion comes from Little Burn on YouTube. Thank you for suggesting the video. Now, on the cusp of Island Raid, I know a lot of people want to be using him, so let's give everybody a detailed breakdown. And in my usual fashion, I'll break down their skills, ways that you'll see this commander being used, a good talent tree build for this commander, and what commander pairings you can expect to use to maximize this commander's effect on the field. Without further ado, let's get into it. His primary active skill is his main skill, the one that you're going to want on the field as much as possible. For 1,000 rage, summons a small combat drone, increasing infantry squad defense by 40%, range squad attack by 40%, and rider squad HP by 40% for you and nearby allies, up to 5 squads in total, and lasts for 2 seconds. Also recovers 60 rage. The 60 rage comes from awakening this skill, as well as 4% in each of the buffs. And while the 4% is nice, the 60 rage is immensely helpful, because that 60 rage is usually what you're missing to get another second cut off of your skill cycle. Just enough to make this entire process 1 second faster. But these 40% buffs are huge. Ranged has high squad attack already. Boosting that by 40% is insanely helpful to anyone that it affects. Same with infantry squad defense of 40%. Infantry has the highest defense. That 40% buff is massive. Rider squad HP is nice, but it's not as helpful as the other two. Still, a 40% buff to HP, which reduces the troops lost by rider squads in general, will keep them on the field longer. Basically, you want as many buffs from Alex as possible on the field. And that's why that even because he's free, you should be seeing a lot of Alex marches on the field just to get these buffs to be near constant if you can. Now, skill number 2 increases squad's steel gathering speed by 30% and food, wood, and oil gathering speeds by 20%. He is a gathering commander first and foremost. That's what he was built to do. So having a nice steel gatherer for a 30% buff is always great, and still buffs the other gathering speeds by 20%. It's not as good as talents that you'll get for gathering commanders, and there are commanders that are better at other gathering types, but you're going to want to level him up anyway in order to get his skills. So having a gatherer as well as someone you can use on the field makes him immensely useful for free-to-play players. Skill number 3, when attacked, has a 10% chance to heal lightly wounded units. Heal factor of 1600. I personally hate that this is on a 6-second timer. We have commanders like Liam who heal for more than that. A 10% chance to heal for 2700 without a timer. Even before Awakened, it was 1800 with no timer, and yet they've locked Alex's down to a 6-second timer. Granted, with a 10% chance, on average, it's not going to link up anyway, but the fact that it could and you miss out on a heal opportunity is really annoying to me. Hopefully, they take this away in future updates and maybe give him a time buff as opposed to a percentage buff to the stats. But that's just wishful thinking from me. Skill number 4 is increases squad load by 34% and engine squad travel speed by 15%. This is kind of minor if you're going to use it in the field. Having that squad load if you're attacking a shelter can be helpful, but you're not going to use him for attacking shelters unless you're just having him use cars to attack the shelter as soon as it's almost dead. So you can get that little bit amount of resources. But this 15% travel speed increase, I have made a video where I've been trying to create the fastest march possible. And for me currently, while I have tested this against a couple of members in my alliance, and I'm still slightly beaten out by one particular rider march and a faster version of my car march. This 15% coupled with Jeremy's 30% travel speed makes for a 45% buff on T1 cars. And I explained in a troop video of mine that cars have a baseline speed faster than that of riders. So I'm still of the theory that a Jeremy Alex car march can be faster than riders, but I'm still testing that. It's currently the fastest march I have. And last I stated that the Awaken buffs all the stats by 4% and gives you that 60 rage. All really nice buffs, especially that additional 60 rage. Now, Alex, you want to keep him on the field as long as possible. He's not going to lead any marches for you. So as a secondary, he's not going to get noticed. However, if you put him with a glass cannon style character, he's not going to be able to stay on the field. He'll be targeted simply because of who's leading that march. So you're going to see Alex be used a lot more in infantry marches than anything else. That being said, he's a gatherer. Level him up to be a gatherer, and then make use of him as a secondary commander on the field. He's not a garrison commander. You want him on the field to boost other troop types while they're moving. And it does help establish field control when you have a bulk of members in what's known as a murder ball, all boosted by multiple Alexes in the group, so that there's a near constant buff going on from Alexes in those marches. Now, talents. He's still a gatherer. You want to at least get him up to level 43 or 44 so that you can max out the gathering tree. Because he's a secondary commander, you can focus gathering with this commander and have him lead a gathering march and then take over a secondary without these being of any hindrance to you. If for whatever reason you wanted to have him lead a march, which I highly advise, he would be second only to Lee in how quickly people want to kill him. If you decided to go that route, you want to take the support tree up to rage generation. You're going to want to take the additional healing. You want to be able to move around and take less skill damage as necessary. I would advise against taking this one, simply because reducing the travel speed of the enemies around you is less effective than some of the other talents that you can pick up. It does keep your enemies from being able to run away from you, but that requires your enemy to be running away. Otherwise, you can pick up whatever you're going to be using Alex for in the overall tree. Personally, I don't like this tree. Because it's so split up between the different troop types, I tend to avoid it almost as much as I avoided the versatile tree in Rise of Kingdoms. It's just garbage, in my opinion. They spewed a couple of ideas from each of the different troop type trees, and none of it really matches up well. You can pick up squad capacity from the engine side of it in order to be able to gather more, but otherwise for Alex, I don't see anything being useful for him. Now, commanders that you will see paired with this are anyone else that runs infantry or anyone else that generates rage. Charlie, Matt's that fits both of those. He is an infantry commander with a great rage generation. Granted, he's likely to be targeted on the field, but with the amount of buffs that he can give from a 5 to 6 second skill cycle, running with Alex means that you're going to have yourself and 4 other squads buffed 33% of the time, if not less. Yeah. Another one that I see him a lot with is Raigoro, primarily because Raigoro has staying power. He's not there to do damage. He's not there to hurt anybody. He's there to put that massive slab of wood in front of himself and stay alive as long as possible. And if he stays alive, Alex stays alive. If Alex stays alive, buffs for everybody. Raigoro has a nice 30 rage per turn. 20 rage for every enemy, 60 rage per turn. And that does stack with Alex's fairly well. And because Raigoro has this beautiful defense talent tree that gives a good amount of rage for the talents that you can pick up from it, means that you can still get it down to about maybe a 6, definitely a 7 second skill cycle. Slightly less than 33% of the time, but still an impressive amount of buffs from a single march. Now, I have seen some people use Lee with Alex to get a debuff and a buff. It's very powerful to have, I'm going to debuff the enemy and then buff everyone around myself, so that for a couple of seconds, about 3 seconds, your side is that much better than theirs. Just know that you need to be watching this march like a hawk, because as soon as people see it, they're going to target it. They're going to kill it. So watch it, be ready to back it off as necessary, bring it back with more troops. Just know that even if this only has 10 troops left, because this is based off percentages, you're still giving your friends the same buffs as you would if this was max troops. Same with Lee, works off percentages. You can have 10% of your troops left or 100% of your troops. The debuff is the same. Some people on a budget, if they're using Charlie elsewhere, will put Liam, because Liam has a good heal and decent staying power because of that heal, and can dish out a little bit of damage himself. I would use Liam as a low budget option for pairing with Alex, or maybe as a last ditch effort to have those buffs on the field. Liam is known to be pretty weak once you get later in the game, so a lot of times if people see a Liam, they're going to try and eat him simply because they know it'll be easy to do. However, if you're still earlier in the game, or if you just unlocked Island for the first time, throw a Liam Alex March out there just so you can have those buffs. Just don't be surprised if it dies. And with that being said, that is everything I have to say about Alex. If you have any questions or other content ideas, please let me know down in the comments below. This was the Hero Breakdown for Alexander, and this is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, signing off.